but Mateo asked something to the effect of like, what did you wish you would have done differently during the grieving process? And for me personally, I wish I would have been there. Not just it would have helped me a lot, but I feel like I wish I would have been there for the other people that were also affected by the things that I was grieving about. Like, like like when Doe's brother passed away, I wished I was more present with that. And when one of my cousins passed away, and he left, three siblings that were grieving for him and parent. I wish I was more present and more vocal about that, because it would have helped me deal with some shit, and I think it would have helped, other people feel like they have people there to help them deal with their shit.
But on to the next topic. A little bit of a little darker, maybe a little more not on the uppity side, but it's a good topic to heal and hear how people heal. How do you heal from things that hurt you in life, where it's a death in the family or a close friend or being cheated on?
You bury it, never talk about it again. If anybody tries to bring it up, you slap them.
Damn, that's funny.
Get super irrational about it.
Just heavy drinking. Like, no, obviously not.
That's not what
The worst part is that as men, it's kind of like what our boomers did, like our parents, and they just bury it deep and until you bottle it up, and then it just pops, and one day you're just yelling at somebody and they're like, "Sir, this is a Wendy's."
I mean, it usually pops when they're drunk too, like, because when you're drunk your emotions really come out. Like, you just at that point you just don't give a fuck. You just say what's on your mind. But yeah, that shit is I used to deal with death like that too. Like, when I lost my grandmother, that shit killed me, right? And I just kind of just like, now I kind of look at it like, oh, somebody else dies, it's like, fuck it, I'm not even gonna, like, I'm gonna feel sad, but I'm just not. Like, I think my grandmother passing away, I just let all my emotions just kind of went with her. I just be like, all right, another person died, I'm sad, but I'm not gonna really, I don't know, I guess feel hurt by it. I don't know. It's weird. Like, death affects people so differently. Everybody's different. It affects everybody differently. It's just, some people shut out, some people cry for days, some people don't eat, some people drink more, some people look for drugs. It's not an easy process, but with time, all heals everything. Like, it would heal all. You know what I mean? You're still gonna be sad. There's a certain smell, like, I miss my grandmother's fucking oatmeal pudding that she used to make. I don't know what that tastes like anymore. Like, I miss that taste, that smell. I miss my grandmother's, like, hugs and her crazy shit that she used to do, her antics while she's driving. You say, hey, look at that. She'll let go of the steering wheel and look to the left. Like, no, you still gotta, like, you still gotta focus, Grandma. What's going on with you?
That's where you get that from?
No, bitch, I don't even do that. Don't play me. I don't do that.
You're
I let go of the steering wheel and look out the window, though. When have I
almost
done that?
crash into parked cars?
I do that for no. See, now you're flipping the script. This is what I hate about you. You flip the script. I used to scare you on the passenger seat because you just be there nonchalant, not doing shit, and I'll just do a little weave into the car, and you be all, don't do that. Oh, why you doing that? It's like, I'm not gonna hit the fucking car, though.
Old school Doey would have been the easiest person in the world to abduct. You wouldn't have to even blindfold him, because the second he got in the car, he was on his phone, and he had no idea where you went or how you got there.
Yeah, bro, it's just the worst. Like, yo, you're a co-pilot. You want to be. He always wants to sit in the front seat. Like, yo, if you're in the front seat, you got duties, conversation topics, radio playlist. Like, I got Pucho the other time we rode together. It was random. We rode together somewhere. I don't know where. He was like, bro, you got to be a better co-pilot. Like, you got to have the beverages, the chips, the radio play, this. You got to get music going, conversation talk. You can't just be falling asleep. I was like, damn.
Basically a flight attendant.
Yeah,
I'm a needy driver. I'll agree with you there. I'm like, why haven't you prepared a water bottle for me? Like, I'm thirsty, dude. Like, Like, yo,
Where
this music is trash. Are you catering to my needs? You know, I don't. Yeah, you guys, my wife. I be when I be driving, I'm a little needy. I could be needy, but what the fuck?
Deaf.
Sounds
How
like
to deal with
somebody's over
deaf?
here screaming like a chicken in my house.
Oh,
Um, yeah, no. Like, you know, how to deal and all that type of shit. I've grown up. I feel like I'm still in that mode where I just don't share as much, and I kind of keep things to myself, and I just deal with it within me, which isn't really the best thing. But unfortunately, it's how I was raised, and I mean, I still do this. Like, I don't really talk about my problems very often. But I found that, like, I don't know, for me, the best way to deal with this stuff is just like having like a close knit circle of people that you could like share your thoughts with and kind of, you know, just have conversation about things with. Um, and then another thing to like what Tony was saying about like I agree. In life I've dealt with so much death that at this point I kind of feel numb to it. Like when people die in my mind, it's just another person that passed, and not like I don't care about the person. It's just it doesn't hit as hard as like
first
you
time.
know, right. So I don't know. It's kind of shitty, I guess, but it just doesn't like my grandmother passed away like a couple years ago, and like I was sad about it, of course, but it didn't hit me like when my first when a grandmother died like 15 years before that. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's still all the same sadness yeah, let's not get it twisted. You still feel all of it. You're just not expressing any of it. Just like a fucking wall. They just damn another
Yeah,
one.
I don't think you have to like cry and stuff like that. I think everybody has their way of processing and grieving. There's a time, and if you do cry, that's good, and if you don't cry, that's not there's nothing wrong with that. If you're not allowing yourself to grieve though, that's a problem. Um if you're not grieving properly, and you could get stuck just in a loop. If you're not, if you're too hard on yourself, like what could I have done?
What's
um
what's proper grieving?
I
Not
don't even
attacking
know.
everybody around you. There's some people who grieve that just want to lash out on everybody for any little thing. They just want to snap. I don't think that's healthy at all. Like people, like I know people who cancel people on social media. Like I had a friend that like somebody passed away or whatever, and everybody that he had a slight grievance with, he just delete. It's like, what are you doing? Like, why are
Yeah,
you lashing out at people?
unfortunately, it's a bad side effect of like traumatic experiences and stuff like that. um I shut off. It was weird for like 4 years. I mean, I was still around, and I would still talk to my friends, but I wasn't. The elevator didn't go all the way to the top for a few years for me. Like the marbles were a little bit looser, and I just wasn't behaving the right way. And I think maybe it wasn't because maybe I wasn't grieving properly. Maybe but I think it comes with experiencing traumatic things and having post-traumatic stress disorder, stuff like that. Sometimes these deaths, depending on how they go, it's I know that when my grandfather passed, it was very hard to see him slowly pass away, but it definitely did not stay with me as long as my brother's death, which was very sudden and not, it was just really sudden
unexpected.
and unexpected. Yeah. So I know that there's two different types of deaths that I've experienced, and then the unexpected ones and the people that are, that haven't been able to live their life and stuff like that. That shit really sticks with you. It was rough. I grieving naturally. I don't like, maybe I said that, and maybe there is no natural way or a good way to grieve. But I do think that if you are still in the bargaining phase and it's been several years, I think that you are still in the bargaining phase where you would say, I would give this up and I'd give that up. And what could I have done that day? And what were they doing? And how come this person and you're still stuck in a grieving process and you haven't really gone through you haven't let go of this aspect of grieving, and I think that could be very unhealthy. To I think that could be it could just not it festers. It's just not a good thing to do. um
So I haven't had a lot of deaths in my life. I've had a couple of friends that have ended their own life early since since I got into my 20s. Um, and as far as like family deaths, I had my grandpa passed away, but I was fairly young, so it wasn't really like a thing to fully comprehend and like process. Then I had a couple of cousins that passed away, but same kind of thing. Like, wasn't super close to them or was super young. Like there's Mexican families are big, right? So you have a super extended family. So even though it's a cousin, it's not necessarily a cousin you see more than once every 4 or 5 years or something, right?
yeah.
So I haven't had a lot of experience. So just in that aspect, I don't have a lot to input on this. What do y'all wish y'all had done differently though? In any of your grieving processes, if you feel like any of them were done wrong or could have been done better, what do you wish you had changed?
Seek more therapy and psychiatry and not write it off as not it is for me the answer. It's what helped me out the most. It even helped when I had an unexpected infidelity in my relationship. If I did not seek the therapy and the help that I needed, I probably would be going through more. You know what I mean? You blame yourself a lot, and I got through it pretty good with the therapy, and I wish more people seeks because we don't have all the answers, and your friends sometimes don't have all the answers. You know what I mean? Enough. You can talk to somebody who could give you a better outlook and aspects. I didn't even do the therapy for a long time. It was more just once I got the right medicine and there was less of a chemical imbalance there, and I became less irritable. It helped in a lot of ways, getting therapy.
No, yeah, I mean, what's crazy too is like, as far as death, like the grieving part of death, I feel like versus being cheated on and grieving off of that is a little bit like the cheating on is way worse than the death. Like, cause it's
What do
like,
you mean?
Well,
and
Give
cheating.
me an example.
Well, being cheated on you definitely has a lot more like bargaining and a lot more of that. Like, what could I do
yeah,
different?
you know what I mean.
How?
Yeah,
Yes.
so that's why I'm saying like that's a little bit more difficult in the way of like death. It's like, damn, what should I have done? Like it's past tense now, right? It's like there's
Yeah.
nothing you really can't do. But with a person cheating on you, it's like there's stuff that can be done, it can be fixed, and so you're always in the question mark land. It's like I could do this, no, or like you're going back and forth until one day you just wake up and be like, I don't give a fuck. Once you get over that hill, the I don't give a fuck stage, then you start healing. Then you
Yeah.
start like just not caring and letting things
Well,
go. It's like,
your
no,
your life is on hold until that point, right? When you've been
yeah,
cheated on, your life is just kind of on hold because you're like, maybe we'll reconcile, maybe we will be able to work things out, and you're just kind of hold yourself back a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
And when you really don't, you just need to just be like, if they want to be in your life, if they love you or if they're special enough to be in your life and they want to, they'll be there. You know what I mean? If they don't, then they'll leave, and that's not your loss. That's a lesson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all about lessons. Like people, like me and my boy Ever. Shout outs to Ever. We always used to be like, "Yo, you catching the L growing up," and it's like, and we always say L as a loss. Like, damn, you caught that loss, but it's like, nah. Like growing up as like fully understanding, it's like, nah, it's a lesson, bro.
Yeah,
That's
no,
all it is.
failures are necessary to get to success. You got to get through some
It's
failures.
a fact. Like you gotta have fall a couple times to know how to pick yourself back up, or fail a couple times to know like what's the right path. It's just life, you know what I mean? You gotta go through these shits. Sometimes if you're lucky enough, you don't gotta go through it. But I think like going forward though, it does taint your relationships. Like, you know what I mean? Like if
Oh yeah.
your first relationship, your first true love, your first whatever, that they fuck you over, whatever, whoever fucks you over, that taints the next one. And it's not the next person's fault, but it taints it. Because
Yeah,
you're
it
not
really and it
gonna
sucks because that's right there. You don't want to treat the next person like shit because the last person that you were with kind of fucked up. You kind of gotta be responsible in that way and be like, yo, I gotta give this person the benefit of the doubt and stuff like that. It's just when it happens so much and you have so many failed relationships, it starts to wear on you and you start to just be like, what is this shit that we're doing? Like, what is this really? um so it gave me, although I do feel like I am not in the dating scene, where I just not dating people, not doing anything like that, and that's the way I've kind of wanted it. I have focused a lot because I was one of those people that, I know this sounds like cheesy, but I didn't love myself. I didn't appreciate who I was. I didn't appreciate what I brought to the table. I didn't look at myself in the mirror and say like, yo, you're a fucking rock star. And now I do. Now I love myself. I'm completely content with who I am and what I am and what I'm bringing to the table and how I help the situation. I'm completely open to working on myself. I took a lot of this time by myself and said, why are the unlikable parts about me the way they are? Why am I like this? Why am I so irritable all the time? I'm like, what's up with that, Doey? I started like having these internal dialogues with myself and wanting to change those parts of myself, because I'm like, if I'm questioning it, surely the people I hang around with and the people I'm fucking are seeing this shit too. I think it's very healthy to always look at yourself and see how, hey, if I was wrong in this situation, how could I not do this in the next relationship? Because sometimes you just have to take a failure and say, even though this relationship didn't work out, that doesn't mean that the next relationship won't. And I think you got to stay hopeful as well, and not it's very easy to get in this spiral for me, where I'm just like, I'm a piece of shit. I'm never gonna nobody's ever gonna love me. I'm never gonna be in a relationship again. It's so easy. I just spiral out of control. And I'm like, no. It's
it's
just terrible.
it's definitely wild because it's like I would look at shit, right, and I'll be like it like getting in a predicament and not knowing how to deal with or whatever, it's gonna taint it a little bit. Like in your next relationship, you're not gonna give that 100% love like you did in your first love. You know what I mean? Like you won't, your heart on your sleeve, that won't be there. Like you won't do that, and you try not to do it, but like certain things you'll just give less shit about in the next relationship. You won't care as much because it's just like whatever. Like do you know what I mean? But it is something that when, like before you jump in another relationship, have to make sure that you won't be the dick because of what you went through. Don't bring your past relationship into your new one. That's something you shouldn't do. That's not fair to the person you're trying to be with, or you know what I mean. That you gotta move on from that. Until you move on from that, I wouldn't suggest anyone to get in a relationship because you're just bringing trash from another house. Don't bring trash from another house in your new house. That's not what
It's
we're
called
doing.
it's called like mental baggage and baggage. How much baggage are you coming into this old relationship? How much are you bringing into the next relationship? And you don't want to have too much baggage.
The worst too is right once you finally moved on, once you're 100% moved on, that person comes trickling back.
Always,
It's just
because
like
they see it. They see that you don't need them anymore. And a lot of people have this ego and pride. I'm not saying everyone, but I've noticed that there's a specific type of person, and it always happens, man. Once you're in the clear, you're not even thinking about them anymore. They'll come back and they'll be like, "Hey, what's up?" And it's like, dude, the clouds start coming, and you're like, "Oh no!" And you don't even have to answer their shit, but your whole world starts to close in and shit like that. So, but I would say is if they weren't looking for you before, then just leave it alone. It's okay not to speak to people anymore.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. You guys had your time.
Yo, we should fuck with Pucho, act like we all been fighting, and to see his reaction.
Yo, Tony, suck my fucking dick.
No, fuck
bitch.
you, bro. This is why I hate doing
I
this
don't
fucking
fuck
pod
with you
because you're
anymore.
a piece of shit.
That's it.
He's not buying it. He's not buying it.
No,
It's Mateo. Mateo gave it up, bro. Mateo just sitting there. And Mateo had his face like, help me, Pucho.
It was Doey's tone.
I thought Doey was gonna be way more subtle, and he immediately
Like, he went to 100. Like, that shit is fucking... Pucho put his headphones in like these.
I don't know where you guys are in this conversation, but Mateo, when I walked away, because my daughter's sick, she's being very
Ñoña.
fussy. Yeah. But Mateo asked something to the effect of like, what did you wish you would have done differently during the grieving process? And for me personally, I wish I would have been there, not just, it would have helped me a lot, but I feel like I wish I would have been there for the other people that were also affected by the things that I was grieving about. Like when Doey's brother passed away, I wished I was more present with that. And when one of my cousins passed away and he left, 3 siblings that were grieving for him and I wish I was more present and more vocal about that. Cause it would have helped me deal with some shit, and I think it would have helped, other people feel like they have people there to help them deal with their shit.
Yeah.
But where we're at right now, Pooch, we're talking about grievances and how it's different from relationships, like being cheated on versus death, and how cheating on is probably a little bit worse because it's like now you're left with a lot of question marks in a way, and not in a way of like value, in a way of just like the unknown. Like when someone dies, it's like everything's past tense. Like, damn, what should I have done? What could I have done? Versus where it's like, what can I do? You know what I mean? Because it's like now there's like you're just lost. You're in a fucking... You're like an island.
I mean, I was saying like some of the things that you go through when you get cheated on is like some of the things you go through when somebody passes away. You get some of these bargaining, like, I would do anything to have you back, baby. I love you. You start to just, I'll give it all.
It's like
And,
self-pity, I guess, maybe. Is it close to it?
No, it's
maybe?
just that it's like kind of the same thing where you're bargaining. Oh, what could I have done differently? You just hyper focusing on the past, and hindsight's 2020. You're gonna look at things and be like, yeah, I could have done this and I could have been better in this way. But at the end of the day, we're all growing and we're all learning. And I think the best method, especially for relationships, is just to be very transparent in what you want. Like, very, very transparent in what you need. It's not cute all the time, but I think open door policy is the best policy.
With the whole cheating thing, I don't think it's as bad as like the world makes it out to be. Like, somebody cheats once, they're a piece of shit for the remainder of their lives and they deserve to die and all this. It's like, I think that's, beast. But me personally, if I was dealing with being cheated on or something, I wouldn't be able to proceed with that. I don't think. There's obviously some like, it works for some people, like trying to fix the relationship and go to counseling and all that type of stuff. I don't know. I'm too in my own head as a person to, I think, for something like that to truly work for me. I don't think I could ever trust that individual after they like screwed me over,
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe that's bad from a grieving perspective. Like maybe I'll never be over it in a healthy manner. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just wouldn't know how else to to deal with it rather than to just throw it away. Personally,
I mean, it's why you see a lot of like rocky relationships where someone cheats on them, they get back together, they break up, they get back together, they break up, and it's just this like it feels like this cycle. It's because it's tough. Like I think it's possible. I do think it's possible to reconcile with someone that has cheated on you. I think it's possible to let go of the pain and the hurt and the anger and the frustration and the anxiety that comes along with that, right? Because like you get back together with someone that's cheated on you, and what are you doing? Worried that they're gonna do it again. Like if they get in their phone, maybe you're gonna be overly worried about, oh, who are you texting or something like that. Like there's concerns there. But I think it's possible to work past that. But most people aren't putting in the work. They're not able to get to that point because it's tough, right? You just get stuck in a cycle.
Yeah. It's just cycle. But I mean, like I said, that's definitely a part of life. Like there's ups and there's downs. It's just how you deal with it, I guess. Always, always ask friends or seek professional help. You never know, So they can definitely shine a light on your dark days and try to bring you back. But no, yeah, you're definitely key thing. Like I said, you don't want to bring that taint or that baggage into another relationship. Kind of have to just like let that be in the past and heal, and don't bring it to the next person. It's not their fault that your partner was a piece of shit.
Absolutely.
yeah. I mean, I would add as a word of advice, I would say to be more present for your friends and families that are going through these situations. It's I think it'll be annoying now, like if you keep trying to talk to it about it with your friends and stuff like that. I think they'll be like annoyed that you're trying to do this, but I think later down the line they're gonna remember like, yo, this person was trying to be there for me, and maybe it helped, maybe it didn't, but I don't know. I think it would count for something. I think. But,
Yeah,
Yeah.
most definitely. I would agree with that. It just showed like, damn, someone does love me. Someone does care. Like it shows a caring need that some people, even though they don't think they need it right then and there because they're just trying to grieve, but sitting back looking at it like, damn, nah, he in some way somehow that kind of helped. I would agree for sure. But it all sucks. And if you haven't done so already, people, please feel free to hit the like button, subscribe to our page. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all social media accounts, all audio platforms. We still don't push P out here. We gave up on that. But yeah, man.